Good afternoon to all. I would like to thank AIUS and Dr. Rajesh for giving me an opportunity to speak. So I will be speaking on the relevant investigations in a case of postoperative endophthalmitis. Now, what should the worksheet of a case of endophthalmitis look like? History taking is of paramount importance. The inciting event, the onset, whether fulminant, acute, or chronic, the progression, any associated illness like uncontrolled diabetes, chronic debilitating diseases, immunocompromised status, all should be noted. So workup of a patient of endophthalmitis should be considered as an emergency because the pathogens and the toxins can rapidly damage the ocular structures. Most importantly, informed consent for all further management needs to be done. So once you have made the clinical diagnosis, it needs to be confirmed by identification of the organism, and the best samples to take are those from the aqueous and vitreous. However, in only 36 to 40% cases from aqueous and 56 to 70% from the vitreous, you get a positive result. There have been reported cases wherein the aqueous aspirates were positive, whereas those from the vitreous were negative. Hence, you need to take samples from both the sides. Now, 0.1 to 0.2 ml of aqueous hypopyon or the exudate is withdrawn using a 24 gauge needle. Now, vitreous is the most important source to know the causative organism. Vitreous aspirations can be done using 23 gauge needle introduced through the pars plana just before injecting intravitreal antibiotics. However, many a times you'll end up in a dry tab because in these cases, the vitreous tends to be denser and it contains membrane. Furthermore, it is fraught with the danger of producing vitreous tractions. Hence, the safest method is by vitreous biopsy, which can be done either with the infusion line on, which will give you a diluted sample, or without the infusion line, wherein the suction port of the vitrector is connected with is replaced with a shorter tubing to which is connected a syringe to facilitate manual suction, and 0.2 to 0.3 ml of vitreous is taken. The other samples that you could look for are the explanted IULs, the IOFBs, sutures, abscissed iris tissue, and collection from the vitrectomy cassettes. So once you have the samples in hand, then and there in OR, you are required to make 2 slides, one for Gram and one for Giemsa stain. Now, care needs to be taken while preparing the slide that you should not make it too thin because then it will lead to dispersion of the organism. But if you make it too thick, it will take up heavy stain, making the identification of the pathogen difficult. Then if you're suspecting it to be a case of fungus, a KOH mount is to be done, and the slides prepared are stained with Gamori methenamine silver. Then 1 drop each should be inoculated into the brain heart infusion broth and the thioglycolate broth. These two are enrichment medias. And once you have done this, this is then transported to the microbiology lab where it is kept in incubator for say 16 to 18 hours. This is the time we give to make the environment favorable for the multiplication of the pathogen. So after the standing time, the samples from these broths are taken and then they are subsequently plated on blood, chocolate, McConkey agar, Severod's agar, and the Brucella blood agar. Now, what could be the reasons for negative culture? The presence of fastidious organism, by which I mean to say those organisms that have complex nutritional requirement or that they will grow only when a particular nutrient is added to the diet. Then insufficient sampling, cases of sterile endophthalmitis, and whenever patient has received prior antibiotics. Now, many a times you would require a repeat culture when the clinical response that you are expecting is not the same. Then the presence of contaminants in the media, and in cases of fungi, because the fungi tends to show up late. A word about the new microbiological detection methods, the FISH technique, the microarrays, the LAMP technique, they're still in the process of development and not routinely used. Now, in DNA sequencing, the arrangement of nucleotides in the DNA is studied and it is then matched with a database that is already stored in the computer. This is a very useful test for the identification of fastidious and uncultivable microbes, but because it is very expensive, it is not routinely used, but it is of great importance in all research and academic purpose. Now, Maleditov-MS test, like you all must be knowing, a series of outbreak of endophthalmitis in PGI Chandigarh following intravitreal antibiotics. With the help of Maleditov-MS test, within a period of say 4 to 5 hours, they could identify the pathogen, the culprit, to be some pseudomonite type of organism. But the disadvantage is that the initial cost of the MALDI-TOF equipment is too high. Now, a word about the molecular methods, the real-time PCR and the multiplex PCR. It is a highly sensitive and specific test. It gives quick result. It has got high transport toleration, and it is very valuable in cases of fastidious organism. Now, how does it work? So as we all know, every organism contains some unique species-specific DNA, and what it does is that it makes them visible. So main steps involved in PCR, first is the denaturation of the DNA, wherein the double helix of the DNA is broken down, and then the complement chain, the primers are introduced. Once the coupling between the primer and the DNA template occurs, then extension of the chain by DNA polymerase enzyme takes place. Now, PCR technique have led a way into a new era by allowing rapid detection of microorganisms that were previously difficult or impossible to detect by traditional microbiological methods. Now, however, there are few limitations of PCR. The problem of false positivity, which could be because of the contamination, then absence of clinical correlation. Many a times DNA from the dead organism present in the sample can be detected as false positive. Then it does not come into the antibiotic sensitivity. Then PCR testing might not be available at all places, and highly precise thermal cycler is needed. So while sending the sample for PCR, you have to mention the organism for which you want PCR based on your clinical diagnosis. For presence of any other pathogen in the sample, it would not come in because it is not tested. So as we all know that this is an organism specific test, and for every organism, there is a specific primer. So you need to add primer specific to the pathogen again and again, and this greatly increases the cost of the test. However, nowadays multiplex PCR are available wherein 2-3 primers can be introduced at the same time. So a word about the imaging modality. The ultrasound of the BRIE scan gives valuable information regarding the vitreous membrane and opacities, the anatomical status of the retina, the extent of inflammation, choroid detachment, etc. And USG is must before any form of interventional diagnostic or therapeutic intervention wherein you don't see the fundal details. Few systemic investigations like complete hemogram, blood sugar, blood and urine cultures need to be done. Now, a word about the cluster infection. You need to discuss in detail about the cases, check all the documents, determine breach in protocol, and determine area requiring improvement. As we all know, sepsis can occur either from the surgeon side, the patient, instrument, or the environment side. All these needs to be taken into account. All cases are to be reviewed, identify the surgeon-related factors. So once you have an outbreak of cluster endophthalmitis, the first thing that you need to do is to put a halt to all further surgeries. Now, microbiological sampling should be done from irrigating solution, intra and extracameral salts and drugs, viscoelastics, phaco machine, air filter, environmental swabbing, microscopes, especially the undersurface of the objective of the microscope, all the solutions that are using in the OT. Now, to summarize, lid margin and conjunctival swab cultures are no longer recommended. Samples from both the aqueous and vitreous are to be obtained, and they should first be inoculated into the enrichment media to increase the yield, and then subsequently plated on aerobic, anaerobic, and fungal plates. And no culture should be considered negative until you have observed it for a period of 2 weeks. Now, culture from the suture removed in presence of suture abscess is mandatory. Now, PCR and molecular diagnostic methods, they help in the rapid identification of the organism in chronic and atypical cases. Ultrasound is an adjuvant, but not a primary modality in the diagnosis of endophthalmitis, and newer technique may play a larger role in the diagnosis of endophthalmitis in future.